Gentlemen, let me ask you something real. Have you ever been the nice guy who did everything right, only to be left wondering why she chose someone else? Why she chased the man who didn't seem to care? It stings, doesn't it? But here's the brutal truth. Women don't desire the man who waits around. They desire the man who is willing to walk away. You see, walking away is not about giving up. It's not about being cold or heartless. It's about power, self-respect, the ability to choose yourself first, even when emotions run high. That kind of energy is magnetic because deep down, women don't want to lead. They want to feel the strength of a man who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, and doesn't tolerate being treated like an option. Let's dive into why walking away isn't weakness. It's dominance. A man who walks away with dignity sends a powerful, undeniable message. He respects himself. This kind of self-respect doesn't need to be spoken. It's felt. It shows in how he carries himself, how he sets boundaries, and most importantly, how he refuses to beg for affection or attention. When a woman sees that a man is willing to walk away rather than compromise his standards or chase her validation, she suddenly views him through a different lens. He no longer comes across as needy or desperate. He stands out as someone who knows his value. Most men, when faced with rejection or emotional distance, instinctively try to fix things. They over-explain, apologize for things they didn't do, or double their efforts in a desperate attempt to keep her close. But this often has the opposite effect. It makes them look weak in her eyes. On the other hand, the man who calmly and confidently chooses to walk away instead of groveling commands respect. He makes it clear that he is not willing to shrink himself to earn love. That posture is deeply attractive. A woman may not realize immediately what kind of man she had when he was always available. But when he walks away, she's confronted with the realization that he was different. He had the strength to step back, the courage to choose himself, and the emotional discipline not to chase someone who couldn't see his worth. That's when it hits her. He had self-respect, and that's rare. It's compelling. It makes her reconsider. Ultimately, a man who respects himself teaches others how to treat him. He shows that he is a prize, not a backup plan. And that kind of man is the one who lingers in her mind long after he's gone. When a man walks away, something fundamental shifts in the balance of power. Most of the time, in relationships where women start to pull back or take a man for granted, it's because they subconsciously know he won't leave. He's always there, always texting, always available. That creates predictability, and predictability often leads to complacency. But the moment he pulls away, not with anger, not with games, but with calm confidence, everything changes. Suddenly, she's not the one being pursued anymore. She starts to feel the absence of attention, of presence, of energy, and it makes her stop and think. Power in relationships is not about control. It's about influence and presence. A man who is not afraid to walk away is telling the world, and her, that he's not afraid of being alone. That inner strength flips the dynamic. Instead of him wondering what she's thinking, or whether she's losing interest, now she's wondering why he's so detached, why he's no longer chasing. That mystery creates intrigue. It sparks her curiosity and, more importantly, her emotional investment. Women are emotional creatures. What affects them most are not just words or gifts, but emotional responses. When a man shifts the dynamic by stepping back, he triggers emotional uncertainty in her. She's used to being the one with the attention. Now, she has to earn it. That role reversal wakes something up inside her. She may not even understand why she suddenly starts thinking about him again, checking his social media, or feeling a little jealous. But it's real. A man who can walk away confidently reclaims the power of choice. He stops reacting and starts leading. And when you lead, you're no longer just an option. You're someone she must work to keep. Mystery is one of the most powerful forces in attraction, and when a man walks away, he naturally becomes mysterious. He's no longer flooding her with attention or constantly updating her about his life. He steps back into silence, into focus, into his own world, and that absence creates space for curiosity. Human beings, especially in romantic dynamics, tend to value what they don't fully understand or can't fully grasp. When she can't read him, when she doesn't know what he's thinking, that unpredictability makes her think about him more, not less. This isn't about playing games or manipulating feelings. It's about understanding that too much access too quickly kills interest. A man who's always available gives no reason for her to wonder or question. But when he steps away with self-assured silence, it opens the door for her imagination to fill in the blanks. Is he talking to someone else? Has he moved on? Is he doing better without her? These unanswered questions make him far more compelling than constant communication ever could. Moreover, mystery makes a man feel like a challenge. And people don't value what comes easily. They value what they feel they had to earn. If she sees that you're not desperate to explain yourself or win her back, it forces her to confront her own emotions. She starts to recall the moments, the feelings, and the energy you brought into her life. Without constant reminders, those memories begin to glow brighter in her mind. The silence becomes louder than words. The man who walks away gains the upper hand because he's not chasing, he's choosing. He has control over his presence and energy. That kind of self-discipline is rare, and rare things are always attractive. It's not the words you speak, it's the mystery you create that makes her miss you. When a man walks away, not out of bitterness, but out of strength, he begins to glow with something many men overlook: self-improvement. He stops focusing on who isn't choosing him and starts choosing himself. He dives into his goals, tightens his discipline, elevates his body, his mind, and his mission. And that growth does something profound. It radiates confidence. Not the fake, loud kind of confidence, but the calm, grounded kind that says, I know who I am, with or without you. And that's the kind of man women cannot forget. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but slowly, as he works on himself, he becomes harder to reach, not physically, but emotionally and mentally. He no longer places his worth in someone else's hands. He trains, he builds, he sharpens his purpose. And in doing so, he becomes more desirable. Because nothing is more attractive than a man who doesn't need validation to feel complete. He becomes the man other men want to be, and the man women regret losing. While she's watching from a distance, silently checking in, what she sees is a man who is thriving. Not a man who's broken or trying to win her back, but one who used the silence to level up. That contrast hits hard. She starts to wonder if she gave up too soon, or worse, if she ever really knew who he could become. And by the time she realizes his value, he's already too far ahead, focused, composed, and perhaps even unavailable. That's the power of walking away with purpose. You don't just walk away from her, you walk toward the best version of yourself. And in doing so, you create the ultimate form of attraction. A man who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, and doesn't need her to validate his worth. The most powerful shift happens when a man stops chasing and starts attracting. When a woman feels a man's absence after he walks away, she begins to notice something she may not have appreciated before: his energy. It's not just about the words he used to say or the texts he used to send. It's about the presence he brought into her life, the way he listened, the way he made her feel, the way he showed up. All of that starts to echo in her mind once it's gone, and the more she realizes that no one else is matching that energy, the more his silence becomes magnetic. Women don't always miss you right away. Sometimes it takes space and distance for the emotional impact to settle in. But when it does, it's powerful. The key is that she must come to this realization on her own. You can't force it, rush it, or talk her into it. She has to feel the difference between your presence and your absence. That gap, that emotional space, becomes the catalyst for her to reevaluate what she lost. A man who stays emotionally composed during this time holds the upper hand. He's not begging for her attention. He's not seeking validation. He's not reacting. Instead, he lets her come to terms with her own thoughts and feelings. And when she realizes that the connection wasn't something she can easily replace, the shift happens. That's when she starts thinking about what she walked away from and whether she was wrong. You don't have to convince someone to miss you. If your energy was valuable, your absence will speak louder than any words. When you walk away with strength and live with purpose, they won't just remember you. They'll feel the void you left. That's the moment everything changes. So the next time you feel like clinging tighter when she pulls away, do the opposite. Step back. Focus on yourself. Walk away with confidence, not to punish her, but to honor yourself. That's when she'll feel it. That's when she'll notice. And that's when she'll realize she only ever wanted the man who could walk away.